motion. Let's keep these wheels in motion. In motion. You thought I did not know. Did you think I would let it go? Oh no. And in time, yes, I'll think it's absurd, but until then you'll leave your words. But lay on, lay on. Now it's time to defend your lies, lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh darling, you say that you are innocent, but your words, they seem irrelevant, but still play on. Now it's time to defend your lies, lies you've been feeding me all this time. And will you reoffend? Oh darling, oh you have reached your lover's end. No more will we make pretend like we something to fight for. Oh. We had nothing to fight for. 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 dreams. Now you can't redeem yourself. Disregarding your name, your smell is all that remains. They say you're an SUZUKA, but that doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me. I remembered what you'd say. We're all looking to be alone. And somehow, someday, we'll find what we're looking for. Till then, you'll still be a boy. Don't tell me who I have become. Don't tell me who I have become. I remembered what you'd say. We're all looking to be alone. And somehow, someday, we'll find what we're looking for. Until then, we will all be yours. We will all be yours. We'll all be yours. Don't tell me who I have become.
Good evening, race fans. How the hell are we all? You have to give me a sec because I've got some feedback in my ear. Hey, hey, hey! Yes, Empire here, Black Flag Racing TV. Solved that crazy bus problem. Basically, my ear was listening to me, which is ridiculous. This is the GT Invitational Season 3. We're round number 4. We are at SUZUKA. Awesome racetrack. Qualifying has just begun. We will jump in a minute and have a look at what is occurring. In fact, let's do that right bloody now, shall we? Here we go. So, 2 races, 1 sprint, 1 feature race. Let me get rid of this. Please, PD, keep the settings, man, from race to race. It's not like I do anything different every time. I probably do. Right, we're looking at Pagani at the moment. He is carrying the biggest amount of ballast, 60 kilos on board for Pagani in that Audi. Then we've got 40 kilos for Lee Cole, and Joe Cup carrying 20 kilos of ballast. It's a success ballast, exposed to side and down. It doesn't seem to have any effect on Pagani at all. The man is a crazy machine. A couple of new faces to look at this evening. Jimbo Racer. It's been a long time since I've worked with this challenge. Well, watch it. I know everybody else has been saying. Really cool guy. And we'll see how he pops up in terms of pace. Also, Black Flag's very own Stormfly VR46 is in the Aston Martin. So, hot laps ensue. I want to find something about to start hot lap. There he is. Right, here we go. This is Fat Dave in the 458. So you head across that start-finish line. You head down into turn 1. And turn 1 is interesting because you actually slow down through the corners, dropping down through the gears to get that rotation. And then that takes you into the S's. And these S's are all about throttle control. It is literally feathering that throttle all the way through. Something incredibly difficult to do if you're driving the NSX, because that car is an absolute cock when it comes to throttle control, which is not very good at. Then you head up around this lovely sweeping left hand, which takes you up to a nice panoramic environment on top of the hill. Here it is. This takes you into a Degna. Under the switchover, one of the only racetracks in the world, certainly at this level, that has that. Head up towards the hairpin, all the way down into first gear, get that rotation, get the car back on the power before you sweep around 200R, which is a long sweeping right-hander that's taken absolutely flat out up towards Spoon Curve. Spoon Curve is 2 corners, but essentially it's a double apex left-hander. First one, third gear, second one, second gear, a little bit tighter on the exit before you get on the power and head down the back stretch along the straight of the circuit. Just like the front stretch. Little lift, getting turned in. You might need to drop a gear if you're going too quickly. Into 130R, of course, and then this takes you down to the Casio triangle. Flick it round to the right hand side, flick it round to the left, and you get back on that power round the aptly named last curve and across the start-finish line. And that is your lap, my friends, here at SUZUKA. And this is an awesome racetrack. I have been overly critical of this racetrack just because I'm rubbish at it. And actually, the more I've driven it, the more I'm starting to like it. Very good. And interestingly, racetracks obviously evolve over the years, but when this was built in 1962, the only real significant change to the layout of the circuit from the original in 1962 is the addition of the Casio triangle, the chicane at the end. Everything else is pretty much as it was all of those years ago. This main Grand Prix circuit, 3.6 miles, nearly 6 kilometres, 5.8 kilometres. For those who use new money. The track is essentially full course. You've got the circuit, the motorbike circuit, which is slightly longer. It's got a little cutout that takes 200 yards to slow the bikes down, and then you've got the track to east of the West circuit. But this is by far the best one of the And so far, the fastest man on the racetrack in the Audi is Dominic Kubinski. Sounds like it could be a really dangerous world leader. 157.4, 6 tenths faster than Stormfly, who in his Aston Martin is on a 158.1. Third place, Pagani. Remember, he's carrying that extra weight, so it is going to make it a little bit more difficult in terms of out-and-out pace, just because he's carrying that extra weight. That does make a difference, folks. It does make a massive difference. I'm trying to sort the mic out. It's I don't know what's going on with it. There we go. Hopefully that's all the problem. I don't know. This is crazy expensive mic, and it shouldn't be this amount of problems. Who knows what is going on with it? Hopefully now it's sorted out and we don't have any more problems. I say that with absolutely no confidence in what I've just said. But the levels look to be coming through relatively normally now. It's a bit like the throttle on the NSX, is that it's either full on or full off. There's no middle ground, shall we say. So, how's it looking with just probably 2 laps left of qualifying, depending on how far into the racetrack you are. Dominic looking super quick at the moment with a 57.4. He's on a hot lap now, but it's not going to be quicker than his previous, because he's already significantly further in to that time. And yeah, it looks like he's struggling with the back end of that car there. Pagani, good lap from him. That is a 157.7. Gets a lot closer to Dominic, puts himself on that front row. Busting Stormfly down to row 2. He's joined on row 2 by Jimbo Racer, the only American on the racetrack this evening. Looking forward to seeing what he's going to churn out. And Giotto, he is currently on row 3. He's got Mick Astley for company there. Joker and Drox on row 4. Just separated by 6 1/1000ths of a second in terms of pace. Pine, there he is with a 59.4 so far for him in 10th position, or row 6 for those of you who are counting. Nightfire, he's currently on row 7 in that Ferrari 458, and I do love the livery he's got on that car. Lee Cole, he's carrying that 40 kilos after a fantastic second place for him last week. With Imar Bruce Lee joining him on row number 7. No, he's not. He's joining Dusty Fossil on row number 7. And there is Dusty Fossil in his trademark eTeamHARD livery there. And Zomla, 15th fastest thus far, hasn't got below 2 minutes. But I can tell you this, that I did some laps here earlier, and he's still quicker than me. I think my fastest was a 2:02 or something ridiculously, insanely slow like that. So no real change to the front 3, although Stormfly diving into the pits. He's given up on qualifying. Final lap for Dominic. Can he consolidate that pole position and just add a couple of tenths as Pagani ever creeping closer to that pole position? What was a 6/10 difference is down to just 1.5 tenths of a second, 14 hundredths, 146 thousandths of a second. For those that are counting, of course. Here he comes in to the Casio Triangle for the last time in qualifying. Rounds that corner. What's he going to put on the board for us? Is it quicker? Doesn't look like it. Or is it? It is just sneaks in with a 57.3, just opening that gap up. Is Pagani on a hot lap? Pagani looks like he's done. He's not going super quick. So Pagani is done. He will be on the front row. Row 2 is Stormfly with Giotto. Jimbo Racer, he's done. He will join Mick Astley on row 3. The Fat Dane, CSSDK, and Pine on row 4. One Joker and Drox are on row 5. Nightfire, Lee Cole, row 6. Zomlar, and I'm R. Bruce Lee on row 7. And Dusty Fossil, what are you doing? He's 7,000ths of a second between him and I'm R. Bruce Lee, but not enough to get him off the back of the pack. So there we have it. That's your qualifying done, folks. And it's already looking pretty darn racy out front. Let's see how much time. So basically, the top front three separated by just 0.8 of a second. And then we've got Yotto 1.3, 1.4 to Jimbo. It's 2 seconds separate the top 9. Anybody's game at this stage, I think. Obviously, with Pagani carrying that extra weight, it's going to play a factor. Now, slipstream, very, very important here, particularly on the two long straights. Now, what you'll find actually is the ideal strategy with the slipstream. I think you do. To be fair, Aaron, you're doing all right. You're second row of the grid. I wouldn't call that too shabby. Yeah, so he's essentially got back straight, which after you come through Spoon, takes you on that long run over the bridge, around 130R into the Casio Triangle. Now, the ideal scenario is that you use your slipstream down that back straight to close in on the car you're chasing down, get through the Casio Triangle safely, and then you can absolutely melt it with some slipstream in the front straight, and hope you get the car slowed down in time to make the move into the S's, which is where some great overtakes have been made in those in that area. To be fair, see it quite often. So there we have it. That is your qualifying done. I do have a new screen actually for after qualifying is finished, but I haven't finished building it. It's nearly done. It does require me to put some effort into graphics and the such. And it looks like my mic is going fucking mental again. Don't know what's going on with this. I might have to give it a little kick. Maybe see if that solves the problem. So let's have a quick look at the current standings. So after round 3, Pagani still leads the way with 233 points. Lee Cole in second, 216. Joker is third with 213. But without further ado, it is time to go racing. I want that on, and I want that off. There we go. So rolling starts for these drivers here, and Dominic Kaminsky will lead everybody out in the Audi. So here we go. There's the countdown, and we are away. Everyone heading down that front straight into turn 1. Bear with me. Apologies for that. Right, so let's crack on with something much more important. I do apologise for that. So Dominic Kaminsky is in the lead of this race from Pagani, who is carrying that 60 kilos of weight. How much will that affect his performance in that Audi? Audi versus Audi out in the front 2. Stormfly in 3rd. Yotto in 4th. Jimbo in 5th position currently in the American muscle, of course. What else would he have? Mick Astley. He's in the Ferrari 458, running in 6th position. Although little side-by-side action there. Is the overtake going to get done? It looks like it does. Makes the move on Yotto. Yotto losing 2 places. Jimbo moving up. Pine through as well. So a lot of movement for Yotto there down the order. We'll see just what went wrong for Yotto. Because you can see here, losing places hand over fist. Just car after car after car coming through. Just gets it all kinds of wrong. Loses the back end there, and a number of cars making 3 cars, in fact, making it through on Yotto. So he's down to 7th. Fat Dane, is he the next one to get up behind him and make a move possibly? They are side by side, heading down the back straight. Now, Yotto does have the slipstream of the 2 cars in front, Fat Dane's not going to have that. He's going to have to back out as they're going to 130R. You can't go side by side through there. You'd have to have balls of steel and be absolutely mental. And there's Joker having a little look up the inside. Almost 3 wide. Little clip on the back of the Fat Dane. But he does manage to wobble that big fat butt and get it straight again. Good evening, Jay. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you joining us. Joker losing out a little bit to Drox there. Drox coming through and Joker having to drop down to 10th. After that little battle with Fat Dane in 8th, up into the S's, they go, or turn 1 and then the S's, and that was Drox getting it all kinds of wrong, going a little bit too deep, and that allows Joker to move up into 9th position. Good racing so far. No change out front 3. Let's have a look down the order. Nightfire, he's dropped right down to the back of the pack, behind Dusty Fossil, so a big position gain for Dusty, moving up to 14th place, but it's still some back marker battles going on here at the moment, and it is it's going to be interesting, I think, between these guys. It's going to be relatively close, I think, as well. I think there's some real good battles ready to go on. And I'm our Bruce Lee. What happened to him there? Because 1 minute he was further up the order, and all of a sudden now he's not. Now we have a look here and see what happens to him. He's in that Aramco Aston Martin. Little side by side there, and I'm not quite sure who that was with, but it knocked him out of action. And I've noticed as well, when we went into the replay, Fat Dane's lost some places. He's down in 14th. I don't know if we're going to be able to catch what happened to him after watching that replay. Doesn't look like we can. He's already back there in 14th. So, a couple of big position changes at the back of the pack, and that moves Dusty and Nightfire up to 13th and 12th. Respectively. Your front 3 unchanged. Oh, and I'm not a big believer of commentators' curse, but absolutely check that out. I like to think I had foresight to know that was going to happen. I don't know what happened there really. He's heading down to 130R. Into 130R he goes, but he gets it all kinds of wrong. And then just the back end just says, no thank you, steps out, and around he spins. And unfortunately, Dominic, can't park that there, son. So he's lost out. That's 2 places lost for him. That promotes Pagani into the lead. He's got Stormfly for company, just 4/10, separate the Audi and the Aston Martin in the lead here. Lap 3 here at Suzuka. This is the GT Invitational brought to you by eTeamHARD, season number 3. And already we've seen some fantastic wheel-to-wheel action from beginning to end. Sorry, not round number, season number 3, round number 4. We've seen some wheel-to-wheel action in every round, and I don't think I'm wrong in thinking that both races in every single week thus far have been down to the wire on that last lap. And this is one guy here, Pagani, shows incredible pace, and Brands Hatch was just a thing of beauty. He crashed twice at Brands Hatch in the feature race and still came back to take the win. It's phenomenal pace, and he's opened up a little bit of a gap from Stormfly to almost 1 second. There is Stormfly's jumped straight into this Aston Martin, and he's got some work to do to stay with the back of Pagani at the moment. But after that little spin, Dominic is back in 3rd place and getting dropped now by these front 2. 1.8 seconds is the gap. Mick Astley fought his way up to 4th. He's side by side with Pine. Is Pine going to get this move done as they head down to 130R? Someone's got to back out. They can't go side by side through there. Pine backs out. Mick Astley stays in 4th. Pine's going to have another opportunity as they head down the front straight past the pit lane. That's the word I'm looking for. Little nudge in the back. Get a move on, son. Get a move on. And here we go as they head down now. Slipstream for him is not close enough though. Pine not close enough to the back of Mick to make a move into turn 1 and then the S's. So we're going to have to settle in now. It's probably going to be, it's even going to be a mistake around there. And that's usually where you see it all go horribly wrong. Or he's going to have to wait until Dengar before he can make a move. That's probably going to be the next best opportunity, if he's close enough, of course. There is Jimbo. He's just on the back of that and could capitalise on the fact that these two are battling at the moment just to close up. And you can see already He's just squeezing in towards the back of Pine. Just 4/10 difference between them. Into Denga they go. No opportunity there. And a little tank slapper from Mick Astley. Can he hold on? No, he can't. Mick Astley drops out into the sand. Comes back on the track in 8th position. We'll catch that again, actually, because that was the pressure from behind. And you can just see there, he just caught the grass as he went into the second part of Denga. And that just slapped out that back end and stuck him out there. And also that in the background, that is Joker as well. Sympathy joining him in the gravel. So Pagani leads from Stormfly. Dominic in 3rd position. He's cut that gap down to 1 second, so he's showing some great pace. Pagani with the fastest lap thus far. That's a 1:58.1 for him. Pine up into 4th. He's got the job done, but he didn't need to make the overtake in the end because the job was done for him by that little tank slapper. And where has he ended up, actually? Yotto's made his way above Jimbo, got up into 5th, and he's now trying to get on the back of Pine and give him something to think about. Jimbo, the American driver, still sticking in there, still in that battle for 4th as it stands. Drox up to 7th in that 4.58. He's got a little bit of no man's land for him. He's got a bit of clear air in front. He's got no one in his slipstream behind. It just gives him that little bit of peace of mind here on lap 5 to just relax a touch. We're fast approaching the halfway point here at Suzuka. Lee Cole, 2nd last time out, currently running in 8th. He's 2.4 behind Drox, but his concern is Mick Astley. He'll be seething after the back end stepped out at him and he lost 4th place. He'll be desperately trying to get back past Lee Cole and start making his way towards that top 4 yet again. Lee Cole holding him off at this stage. Joker, we saw him in the gravel as well. He's up to 10th, but he again has that benefit of no man's land with no real challenge on the racetrack. So it just allows him to settle into the race. We can close down. Well, actually, I mean, ideally the battle between Lee Cole and Mick Astley will kind of pull him closer while they do their battling thingy. Zomlar. He's from another world, and there he is, Zomlar, 2.3 seconds behind Joker. He's got Dusty, who's up into 12th place, 1.3 behind him. Potentially a battle there for 11th. Here is Dusty. 1.5 seconds behind is the Fat Dave. We saw him drop like a stone through the order after he went spinny. And he's now in 13th, running pretty good pace-wise. 1.4 seconds behind Dusty Fossil. Nightfire is in 14th, 8/10 of a second back there, and I'm Bruce Lee in that Aston Martin. Brings up the rear. Talking of Aston Martin, how's this Aston Martin getting on? It's 1.4 seconds now, the gap to Pagani. He's not been able to close Stormfly, and he's got now Dominic all over the back of him like an unwelcome rash, and he's not over the back of him anymore. He makes it up into 2nd, and that was a relatively simple overtake there for Dominic. We can ride on board with him. That's what we want. And you can see the slipstream, just how strong that slipstream is. Pulls him up to the back of the Aston Martin. He just pulls up to the inside line, and Stormfly does a sensible thing there. It's, you know, there's no point compromising your whole race to try and defend that when the car is clearly going to use that slipstream to breeze past you, as he has just done, of course. And in the meantime, putting the fastest lap of the race in that previous lap at 57.6. So Pagani's lead is 1.4 seconds. We're on lap 6 of what will be about 12 laps for these leaders. Is that time for Dominic to catch up? Well, the answer is categorically yes. But will he? Is another question. And the answer to that we will find out in 9 minutes' time. So there's about 5 laps left. Outside that top 3, this is the battle for 4th place. Pine at the moment winning that battle, 1.4 seconds ahead of Jimbo Racer. There he is, the American driver. And they've now dropped Drox away a little bit. Gap between them, 1.3, 1.4 seconds. Not much battling going on back there. But Drox does have Yotto for company. Not too far behind him. The Portuguese driver is going to have to look in his mirrors because that's a 3-way battle now to get inside that top 6. That's Drox, Behind Drox is Yotto. There in 7th, and in 8th place is the one, the only, the enigmatic Mick Astley, who's just dropping. What happened there? That's a big problem for Jimbo Racer. He went all kinds of shaped in the wrong direction. Same thing we saw earlier, into 130R. As soon as you touch that grass on the outside, it's good night Vienna. And what do we say when that happens? Can't find out there, mate. So all the way down to 12th goes Jimbo Racer. That's a big, big blow for him. There's your race leader, 1.3 from Dominic Kubinski. Stormfly in 3rd is hanging on with Dominic, but it's not the easiest of things to do at the moment. This top 3 absolutely breezing away from the pack, and that's Pine in 4th position, who is at the moment got a little battle of his own, and that battle is to maintain 4th despite the pressure from Drox there in 5th, and in 6th, just 1.2 back, is Yotto. And if we watch from the front of Yotto's car, from my drone cam, flying my drone above them, and you see that battle up ahead, and this is good for Yotto if these two are battling, because it allows him at the back of that Ferrari stepping out for Drox, not able to get the power down as quickly as he'd like, and close in on Pine. And that's always going to be a problem. If you can't get the power down as quickly as the guy in front of you, it's always going to give them a little bit of an advantage. But Yotto hoping that these two cancel each other out and he can get a little bit closer and start to challenge for a place inside 5th in the top 5. There's Mick Astley, and that is a big, big train. And that train is one with Mick Astley at the front, Lee Cole in the middle, and Joker at the rear. A human centipede of cars, if you will, being released in Japan, and those kind of weird things go on in Japan. Who knows if we're going to have some sort of centipede car type scenario. Zomlar, very comfortable in 10th, not really getting any challenge from Fat Dane. Certainly not putting any pressure on those ahead. And that was a nice little overtake there by Joker. Is he going to take Mick Astley as well? We'll have a little look, see if he gets the move done. Can he make the move stick? That's the question. He does make that move stick on Lee Cole. Let's have a little looky see at this. And it was side by side heading down to turn 1. Much better exit for Joker. Just allowed him to make that move. And it gets it done into turn 1. I'm a poet and I don't even know it. So Joker up 1 into 9th place. He's gained a couple of places since that earlier spin. Talking of earlier spin, Dusty Fossil's in the pits, changing out his tyres. Didn't look to me like that was a necessary move. His tyres look fine to me, but he has decided to put some fresh bins on. I mean, I'm looking at the tyres, and I don't think that was entirely necessary. But maybe he's gambling on someone absolutely melting their tyres and him getting an opportunity to nick a place or two. How's 4th place going? Well, all right, if you're Pine. A little bit wide. Oh, a bit of a tank slapper. Does hold it. But that has allowed Drox to get a bit of a run on him in the 458. Now, as they head down towards 130R, Drox needs to position himself in the best place to make an overtake heading down to turn 1. Stay nice and close through there. Don't get too far wide. Oh, he does save that. So excited I nearly died. Yeah, he does save that, but we could have very easily seen him go the same way that we've seen a couple of cars go already. But it does give Pine a bit of breathing room. And while Drox is getting some slipstream, it's not going to be enough to do anything like make an overtake. So, live to fight another day, does Pine. Holding on, as they say in the business, apparently. Yotto just starting to fall away from the back of that battle. 2 seconds now, the gap for the Portuguese driver, for the British driver behind the Portuguese driver, Drox. He's 6.1 ahead of Joker, who's made his way back up to 7th position. after some good battling there with Mick Astley and Lee Cole. Mick Astley losing out actually is now at the back of that three-way battle, and now Joker's been freed. Joker has gone disappearing off into the sunset. Never going to give up, of course he isn't, and I'm never going to give up doing that joke. Tyres looking a little bit ropey, I have to say. He's going to have to look after them a little bit to make it to the end. But who knows? We might see something change yet when those tyres give up. And that is not the correct way to take that corner. That wasn't a tyre issue. That allows Zomlar through. That's the Fat Dane coming through. Here comes the American driver. He'll come through. He'll be followed by eTeamHARD Bruce Lee. And Mick Astley can finally slot in 13th position. Now he does have 15 seconds over Nightfire. No, he doesn't. I lied. He has 11, 10, 9, 8, no, 10 seconds over Nightfire, who is 19 seconds clear of Dusty, who went in and pit for no apparent reason. So there's Nightfire there running in 14th. Can he... Now, it could still play into Nightfire's hands, because the tyres on Mick Astley, look, he's off the racetrack again. So those tyres, those rear tyres have given up on that Ferrari. So Nightfire really does have an opportunity now to close that gap and nick another spot. 4 seconds clear now. That Pagani, that's your race leader. That's your championship leader. And despite having 60 kilos of extra weight, which is pretty much what I've got on each leg, Pagani is 4.2 seconds clear. And trust me, I don't go faster when I'm fat. Does seem to work quite well for him. Dominic Kubinski not got it all his own way. He's got Stormfly putting the pressure on in the final knockings of this race. This is the penultimate lap here. I think they'll make it for one more after this. So this is lap 10. These front runners should make lap 11. Well, Stormfly didn't need to make the overtake in the end because Dominic made the mistake himself, and it looks like his tyres just started to give out on him. So Stormfly puts the pressure on behind on the Audi, and just a little bit wide there. That gives Stormfly a run. A lot wider there in Drenga. Denga, I don't know why I call it Drenga. I'm thinking of it's an old Viking word, Drenga, for like warrior. And of course, because I've got a beard, I automatically assume that I'm a Viking. I am actually descended from Vikings, but there we go. But so Dominic Kubinski down to third. Stormfly gets back up into second, but it's going to be a big task now from here to close the gap on Pagani. Stormfly just wants to hold Dominic off at this stage. But that's your front three, but the battle's still on because Dominic coming back at him down towards 130R, and Stormfly has to back out, but Dominic goes so incredibly wide. Does he pick up a penalty though? He does slow down actually to allow... What's going on there? It slows down to let Stormfly through, heading down towards the line. What's going on here? They're both racing now to turn one. That was interesting because I didn't know if they were going to make the end of this race, but it looks like they did. Drox comes home in fourth. It was a bit weird, wasn't it? It's almost like some crazy netcode issue. Because I know that those guys don't drive like that. Yotto in fifth. Pine is in sixth. One Joker in seventh. Lee Cole eighth. Zomlar. Don't know why I said it like that, but sounds cool. He was in ninth. The Fat Dane home in 10th. 11th is Jimber Rissa. eTeamHARD Bruce Lee cross in 12th. Mick Astley is 13th. He had a torrid time towards the end of that race. Nightfire home in 14th. Dusty Fossil will arrive home eventually in 15th place. So the front three still battling it out. Second place has changed hands again. We'll watch Dusty Fossil cross the line first, and then we'll go and have a little shifty see at that battle for second. We know Pagani's leading by like a million years. There is Stormfly. He's now 2 seconds ahead. So Dominic Kubinski, as he had some problems with his tyres, they are looking ropey as shit. Some great battle between them, but a lot of time lost on lap 9 and 10 for him, where those tyres just had to be nursed home. Stormfly got loads of tyre on that Aston Martin, really been able to look after them, although he's lost a bit of time as well in that battle. So final lap for these two. It's Pagani, 5.7 seconds clear, and here he heads down to 130R. down to the Casio triangle, gets hard on those brakes, gets the car turned in, first gear for that rotation there in that Audi. Through there, round the aptly named last corner. And that'll take him down to the line. And Pagani will win the sprint race here at Suzuka with Stormfly coming home in second. Go black flag, baby. Stops on the line. And no, yes, he lets Dominic Kubinska go through. Stormfly third. So did they ever coming together? And then Stormfly give him that place back. That was incredibly sporting. Congratulations. That was pretty darn good, wasn't it, for a start? How about that? Not a bad first race. What we do now is we take the result of that race and then we set our grid for race number 2. Those that are carrying their ballast still carry their ballast, but now we double the race. So that was 11 laps. So we go from 11 to 22. Glorious laps here at Suzuka. How can I forget the name of the racetrack? SUZUKA, idiot. There we go. A little 5-minute break for the drivers. They can go and have a little wee-wee, or if they so wish, a little poo-poo. And a smoke and a drink and all those other things that are very, very cool, kids. Do all of them because they're all brilliant things to do. Especially the... I'm joking. Ignore me, seriously. I'm going to get cancelled by some cancellation people. It's almost like I have to fiddle with my button to make the microphone do what it's supposed to be doing. Hello, 1, 2. There we go. Oh, that's better. That's better. Don't know what's going on there, but it seems to be better than it was. I don't know. I'm hardly a technical whiz, so it is what it is. Right, so Black Flag Racing TV. What do? We broadcast stuff like this. I talk rubbish over the top of it. Some people crash, some people drive fast. What else do? We do the mini challenge. That's not the one. There you go. The mini challenge. Tomorrow from 7:45 is the mini challenge. It's round number 3. We've tuned up some beautiful, beautiful mini racing cars, and we chuck them around the racetrack. 3 races, 15 minutes. Turn that music off. Shut up. Yeah, chuck it around the racetrack. 3 15-minute races, and the top 3 get. It's a ECU restriction for race number 1. And then a ballast restriction for the top 3 in race number 2. We have tweaked the settings a little bit to do that, just because we found that it was still not evening the field a little bit. So yeah, it's going to be pretty darn cool racing from 7:45 tomorrow here on Black Flag Racing TV. Who wants to sing me a jingle? I want a jingle like they got on the radio. Someone sing me a jingle and send it to me immediately. Thank you very much. Right, so drivers having their little wee-wee and poo-poo before we go back to some great racing here at Suzuka. And that was some really, really cool stuff. The front 3, good battling there. Eventually won out by Pagani. We saw some great midfield battles as well. And it looks like tyre wear is really going to be an issue here in this second race, this feature race. They're certainly going to have to pit at some stage for tyres. So tyre strategy going to be key. Mediums and soft are the requirements of the day. Don't need hard compound tyres here. I think softs are mandatory anyway, so that's what's occurring. I'll be back with you very, very shortly, because not only did I need to wee-wee and poo-poo, I need to wee-wee and poo-poo, but I'm not doing the poo-poo bit. I have returned from the depths of my kitchen. Just got to go and drink. Yes, just to clear up that second and third thing is Stormfly gave the position back to avoid controversy. There was a bit of a coming together between them. So he gave the third place back. I mean, I didn't see much in it. I thought there was maybe a little bit of touchy. But, you know, it is what it is. Fair play all round. Love a bit of fair play here for any kind of racing. Don't see it often enough. That's the problem. Even in the big lobbies on daily racing. And if you like your daily racing, but you don't like the knobheads that usually turn up and spin you out because they've got nothing better to do than hang around in their mum's basement when they're 47 years old, playing the Gran Turismo and ramming people off the track. Come and check us out here on Wednesday. We open up a lobby for 4 hours. We emulate daily race settings. Usually we're going to do daily race B, but because the daily race B track this week is so woefully shit, and it's for Trial Mountain in reverse for those who don't know, we're going to do the daily race C, but we're going to do it as a sprint race. And you'll thank me for it, because if you've ever driven Trial Mountain in reverse, when I've set up a race, you've usually ended up hating me for the rest of your eternal life. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. That starts at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. The lobby is open for anyone when they want to jump in and jump out, and as they wish. It's a very short hot lap qualifying, followed by 10 minutes of balls out racing. No tyre wear and all that palaver. We just get on with the racing, and normally get some good little challenges there. So the lobby is being reset, room is being prepared, and then we will go racing yet again. We're going to do 22 laps this time around Suzuka. We'll see. Now, can Pagani take another win here, despite having like 1 million tons of ballast in his car? I tell you what, if you ever want to send someone to the shop for many potatoes and have them come home quickly, Pagani's your man, because he can still come home fast with all the potatoes in his car. So look forward to sending him out to get me some potatoes one day soon. Maybe never, we'll see. The room is being set. The grid is of course being set from the results of the previous sprint race. As it stands, Pagani is starting to open up his lead at the top of the championship. Shall we have another look at that while we're waiting? So there we go. Pagani leads currently 233 points. He's got more than that now after that first race. Lee Cole in second, 216. Joker currently holding on to third, just 3 points behind. Little finish ahead of Lee Cole again will certainly put pay to that. Lead not racing today. He's in fourth on 180. Dusty Fossil 172. Didn't have the greatest of races there, but looks to try and improve on that. Thick Dane, or Fat Dane, however you want to look at it. 164 points for him, just 2 ahead of Imar Bruce Lee. He is 3 points ahead of Nightfire. Pine 151. Pine won the championship. He won the championship last time out, season 2. So looking forward to seeing if he can start to put a challenge in this time out. D-Rox on 149, Yotto on 145, Mick Astley at 138, and Zomlar on 116. A couple of people obviously not on the leaderboard because they haven't raced yet, but they will. And we will, as the season goes on, see how this leaderboard, if at all, changes. But at the moment, the man to beat is Pagani. He's just absolutely phenomenal in pace. It's been a very difficult man to beat on the racetrack or in qualifying. He's very quick. So same drivers, but obviously in a very different order this time out. And we're going to get cracking very soon, just after the lobby has been set, or the race order has been set. I was going to tell you a story about something that happened, and I realised it's really not appropriate for broadcast, so we won't do that. Windy today here in London. I don't know what it's like where you are. We went from having the hottest June on record to having desert type winds in my back garden. and I essentially have to go out there every couple of hours and make sure that something we own hasn't ended up in a neighbour's garden. Everything in my garden is currently weighted down, which is a bit of a pain in the arse, particularly because I haven't got any space to put anything anymore. But put it this way, I still have lovely astroturf in my garden, and I don't want to hear any of you, oh, we should have real grass, people moaning. You can go fuck off. You don't have to mow it. So I put astroturf in. The problem is, of course, it's since been covered in things like swings and swimming pools and tents and all sorts of manner of shit that kids put in your garden. And it's not a proper swimming pool. I'm not posh. It's one of those ones you put together with plastic poles, which it currently has about an inch of water in it, and an inch of green water in it, because I emptied it to with fully intention of cleaning it out, ready to be used again. But it's not warm enough, so I can't be asked. Basically, but I do need to do it because I know I'll have to buy a new one if I leave it. That's what happened last year. Last year I emptied the pool with the intention of cleaning it, didn't bother, then it pissed down with rain, and then it got ruined, and then I had to buy a new one. But cost of living and all that, we can't be affording to buy plastic pools anymore. We're all poor. We can't afford to lighten our homes and cook our food, because people are too busy getting rich off the back of us. So everyone doing a few blasts around the track while we are having the lobby set ready to go. Break is nearly over for everybody. Be rolling start again, of course. Now, I'm torn on rolling starts. I like the grid start because it gives people opportunity to nick a place or two from the start, and there's always that there's always that little opportunity to close things up, and I think obviously you're a lot closer. Rolling start spreads the field out a little bit, so you qualify a bit further down, you are going to be a little bit further back, but it does generally, for the most part, alleviate all the absolute fuckery, for want of a better expression, that tends to happen into turn one on a regular basis from grid start, particularly somewhere like here, most definitely somewhere like Monza. But anywhere where you've got, if you've got a very short run down to turn one, generally not a problem. If you've got a bit of a climb, and is that rain I see? Are we going to have a wet race here? Now that will really put a cat amongst the pigeons, because it's very possible you get rain at Suzuka. So rain is a very distinct possibility. And I'll tell you what, the thing is, you're obviously looking at my picture, which is a nice sunny racetrack. This is what I'm looking at. That is rain, driving rain. Now this becomes a very different animal, Suzuka, in the wet, because what was once a racetrack where you can really power out of the corners and you've got those fast sweeping right and left handers, suddenly become absolutely treacherous. Braking zones change dramatically. The way you approach this race changes dramatically, and the chance of an accident raises exponentially. Very big curve. So this will be interesting. So while we're waiting, I'm going to tell you the story of what happened today. So basically, for those who don't know, my daughter had a massive operation in 2022. She had a problem with her spine. She had a spine straightened. 13 hours under the knife with extensive metal work put into her back and all that kind of thing. Anyway, so obviously she wasn't at school for some period of time. She has gone back to school, but since then had some problems from the surgery. It's a 2-year recovery period. So I had a conversation with her school today, who, by the way, when she collapsed at school last week, that sent her back to hospital, they haven't bothered to check in and see how she is since that point. Only for the head of like the truancy woman, to basically accuse us of being irresponsible parents that don't send our child to school, and asking for paperwork, proof of everything. So I basically lost my rag and sent a massively long email to the head people, and we now have a meeting on Thursday where I'm going to tear them a new one. But the insensitivity and this all stems around, I basically said, we can't give you a time when she's going to be back. We have to wait for to hear from a consultant. A consultant tells us we're guided by the experts. This guy's been doing it for 30 years. He knows a lot more about it than anybody else. We would like you to send us some work for her to do while she's housebound. And they said, we can't send her any work to do because we haven't got any proof that she was even in hospital. The fact she's got titanium fucking rods in her spine is a big fucking clue, you knobhead. But anyway, so yeah, that's the current battle. So essentially for them, it's more important that she turns up to school and ticks a box so they can get some money than her actual education. So yeah, I will update you over the coming days about that situation. And if they really fuck me off on Thursday, I'll even name the school and shame them online. And let's be fair, I've done it before. I had her sister's school appoint solicitors and threaten to gag me publicly when I tore them a new one. So I'm not afraid of these big organisations. Anyway, the race is now about to begin. We can move back to talking about something more appropriate to what we're doing. There we go. Get rid of the drivers' names. I already know what their names are. What I do want to see is that. So here we go. Away they go again. This time Yotto leads us out. Drox in second, Jimbo third, Mick Astley fourth, Joker in fifth, Lee Cool sixth, Pine is seventh, I'm Bruce Lee eighth, ninth is Fat Dane Zomlar in 10th, Nightfire in 11th, Dusty Fossil is 12th, Stormfly in 13th, Dominic in 14th, and Pagani in 15th. And we're going to watch these guys at the back because they're super quick, and we're going to see them run down to turn one. And this is where it is quite good having a rolling start with the fast guys coming through. As we see straight away, Dominic trying to find a way up the inside. He does get the move done, but he was a little bit hampered by the slower cars ahead. And Stormfly getting caught up behind Nightfire and can't get through, so can't follow Dominic through. Dominic finds a way to weave himself up through that order. Side by side, they go, little touch there. Pagani was looking to chuck one up the inside, but the door closed before he could get that move completed. So Yotto in the lead from Drox. That is Pagani. We're watching this battle. We're watching him try and fight his way through. Now this is 40 minutes. We've got 22 approximate laps over the 40 minutes. Was there a little shenanigan up ahead? Looks like everyone's relatively safe, but it did seem to slow up a little bit. It's a great little shot running up the hill towards the hairpin. Aptly named, and that's a great move by Pagani. Nightfire going incredibly wide there. Zomlar is 13th, 14th Pagani, who we're on board with in a minute. There is Nightfire just dropping off the pace as we head up to Spoon. And it's called Spoon because it looks like a spoon, I assume. Oh, there's cars off all over the shop. What happened there? Was there any touchy, or was that just simply... where do we want to go? We want to go up here, don't we? There we go, Fat Dane. Was there a little touch? No, it looks like he just got it all kinds of wrong and goes a little bit too wide there. Does get back on the racetrack, but loses a couple of places. And he's now back with Stormfly. Stormfly back just ahead of him. Nightfire just behind him there. As we complete lap one, it looks a little bit like this. It is Giotto. And Mick Astley was on intermediate tyres, so he's had to go in and change those tyres. So it didn't actually rain in the race like it did or we thought it was going to. So Drox takes the lead of this race from Giotto. The Portuguese driver finds a way through. He's on the soft compound tyres, so you would expect to see him try and make the most of it. And you really got to do that. If you look through the order, everybody pretty much, we've got Lee Coles on softs. Dominic's on softs. He's up to 6th place already, which would make sense if he's on soft tyres, as is Dusty Fossil. Pagani on the mediums, Zomlar on the mediums, Pine's on intermediates, which is why he's going slowly. So he was expecting a wet race also. Mick Astley has changed out now to the softs, Stormfly on the mediums, Nightfire on the mediums, softs for I'm Bruce Lee, and the Fat Dane on softs as well. I think he's had to pit as well. So, Drox on those softs. Now, because Giotto behind him is on the mediums, his predominant job at the moment is just to lay down those hot laps and get as far away as possible from the medium runners behind him, who are Giotto, Jimbo, Joker, Dominic up to 5th place already. He is on a massive charge, and I'll tell you what, the gap between him and his two podium mates from race number 1 is already opening up. Pagani's up to 8th, but Dominic is making some real inroads into that top 4 already in that pink and black Audi. Loving the livery on that, actually. So Drox leads the way still from Yotto, with Jimbo in 3rd, Joker in 4th, and there is Dominic trying to close down that gap. 1.3 seconds is the gap as Drox puts in the fastest lap of the race. How long does that hold? Who's going to nick it? Of course, this man right here with the crazy pace. 1:58.9 for Dominic. This is the gap. You can see the back of one Joker already, and it's getting ever closer. As you see, the front 3 there really spread out. Not anything like the close racing we saw from the front 3 in the sprint race. And now, it does look like it might rain at some stage. It did threaten. We obviously saw the rain, and there it is coming down now. The rain is coming down. So, this is who we need to look at. That was some fighting going on there between Dusty and Zomlar, I think, Dottie and Pagani. So, who was it that we saw that was on the intermediate tyres? So, Pine on the intermediates. Now, the only problem is, of course, he's on the inters, which is perfect time to be on the inters, but he's absolutely ripped a new one out of those tyres because he stayed out on a dry track, and it just doesn't look after his tyres at all in that situation. He's going to have to pit at the end of this lap, pretty much as everybody else is. Now, do they go full wet? It is already torrential. The track's slippy, and you can see there as Drox disappears. Yotto does manage to get it slowed down, takes the lead of this race, but he's not going very quickly at all. Back end's obviously going to step out. Drops back on the racetrack, but they're going to have to nurse these cars into the pits. And not one of these cars is going to stay out on these tyres. I can't imagine any of them will. You would have to have massive bazongas. And I meant bazongas as in nuts rather than bazongas in fun bags. In order to not come into the pits this time. So round the Casio Triangle, which in these conditions is tricky as anything. Then round into the pits. How many are going to pick up pit lane penalties? Trying to get the car slowed down and into the pit lane. Now Yotto opting to stay out on those medium tyres. Joker staying out. Drox goes in. Jimbo also staying out. There's some bravery out there. As we're moving very close to full wet territory, Drox, Lico, Dominic, Pagani, all in for the sensible option. Pine staying out on his, or is he staying out? He's only just coming into Casio now. He is actually staying out on his incredibly worn intermediate tyres. So that is a massive change to the lineup here. Overtaking is not permitted. Who's crashed? That is who was that? That was Joker. No, Joker's on the racetrack. Drox is. Oh, that's very slow. They're all having to go incredibly slow. These guys have opted to stay out. Not sure it was the wisest choice. I think we're going to see these guys losing massive position. Just 50 mile an hour for Yotto there. Around a corner that generally you're doing in 5th gear. And yeah, it's going very slowly. Drox retakes the lead. 3 second penalty for him though on the intermediate. So he picked up that pit lane penalty, but he is going to absolutely disappear off up the road ahead of these guys that opted to stay out. Interesting choice in the end. There's Jimbo. He's currently running 2nd, but he is miles off the racetrack. Now gets back on. Pine stayed out as well. He's going to have to pit because his tyres are shot. Does come through. Here comes Pagani. He's on the inters. He's going to make a big move on Pine. He's going to be up into those front 2. So big losers. Let's have a look. Who are going to be the big losers here? We're looking at the back. Night Fire's on medium compounds. He's going to be struggling. eTeamHARD Bruce Lee is also going to be struggling. He's on the soft compound tyres, stayed out. Mick Astley stayed out on the softs. Now, is it a gamble? Okay. Is it worth, when you're back there, staying out on these slick tyres, because obviously they've got access to weather radar. And just a note for anyone from PD that is watching this, commentators should be able to have a weather radar and see what's going on. It's more likely they're going to have one than a driver. Let's be brutally honest. So please, next update, give me a weather radar. Please, thank you, love you, bye. And then we can obviously see what's going on. So we can see that the moisture on the track, or I can see the moisture on the track, is starting to dry. There is a dry line. It has stopped raining for the most part. There is still some out there, but if we go like this, we can see there is no more rain coming down. As we see Nightfire disappearing. He's died. There's no point watching him anymore. Nightfire's dead. Drox 5.2 seconds in the lead in the Inters, but we are now dropping back into the realms of slick tyres. So this does play into the hands of people like Pine, who have he's hung out there on what can only be described as very ropey intermediate tyres. But when he comes in now, he could take a gamble and put on some slicks, and if it continues to dry out, those slicks are going to come to him very, very quickly. Drox on Inters, Pagani on Inters, Lee Cole on Inters as well. We know Pine is, but these Inters are gone. Dominic's on the Inters, he's running in 5th. It's currently 12 seconds off the leader though, but not being able to find a way around Pine. It's really holding him up. Must be so frustrating. Pine doing everything he can to keep Dominic behind him, but can he hold him off here? Doesn't look like it. He's got the run. Dominic, he makes that move up into 4th place. Stormfly also on those intermediate tyres. He's running currently in 6th position. Jimbo still on those medium compound tyres in 7th. Now, this could be a masterstroke. If the track really does start drying out, as it looks like it is, it looks like that was just a massive flash monsoon. If it dries out enough over the next couple of laps, and of course he can keep it on the racetrack without killing himself, then it's very, very possible that this could be an absolute stroke of genius from Jimbo here. But he's got to hold on. He's got to hold on and hope the track just gets drier and drier over the next couple of laps. Because if it does dry out enough, he's going to be on medium tyres with not much taken out of them. And all the cars ahead are going to have to pit. And Pine now dropping down to 6th place. Staying out. Is he going to come in this time for some slick tyres? He's surely... he's turned those tyres into slicks already. So he does. Pine comes in. What's he going to do for tyres? Is he going to blink and go for slicks? They look like slicks, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are, because the graphics are the same for every single tyre. So Pagani leads now over Lee Cole. Drox dropping down that order as the track is starting to dry out. Dominic is in 4th, Stormfly in 5th. Jimbo is in 6th on those mediums and starting to ramp up the pace as the track starts to dry. You've got to stay in the dry line though. You do not want to be going offline. It's still going to be moist, and avoid the curbs at all costs, because those curbs will throw you into a wall. They will kill you. And he does manage to rescue it, but he's had to let off the power a little bit there. And that's going to let Fat Dane close right up on the back of him, as long as he can keep it on the racetrack, of course. He's on full wet, Fat Dane, so he's really going to be struggling for pace now. So let's have a little looky see what Pine went for. Pine's gone for the medium compound tyre. So he has opted to come out on slick tyres. Now it certainly is in the realms of running slicks. It's on that kind of cusp between one and the other, and this is quite a fine margin area, is that you have to pick the opportune moment to switch out. So you've got to pick the moment at which the Inters are going to drop off and the slicks are going to be incredibly viable. You don't want to go in too early, unless of course you have to pit anyway. You might as well put the slicks on, as we've seen a couple of drivers do, or certainly Pine. But if you're on the Inters and those Inters are working fine and you're putting in your decent lap time for the Inters, you don't want to stay out too long and start losing lap time and then coming in for the slicks. And Pagani thinks this is the time to come in. So he comes in. Drox, what's he going to do? Is he going to come in? Drox is coming in as well. Dominic, is he going to follow them in? Dominic's staying out on the intermediates for another lap. So he clearly feels it's not quite ready to do that. Don't know what the weather radar says, but Pagani, Drox, Lico and Stormfly all coming in for slick tyres, while Dominic disappears off up into the distance. Jimbo, is he going to take second? No, but he does slot in third behind Pagani. But here is Drox. Sorry, Jimbo does come through. I thought Pagani was going to get out and up to speed, but Jimbo was thundering down that start-finish straight and gets up into second. Fat Dane getting rid of those full wet compound tyres, but the full wets obviously were. To be fair, it was a gamble worth taking. The rain was super, super heavy, and it certainly was a gamble worth taking that it was going to get that wet, because those on the intermediates would have had to have gone in and changed out for full wet tyres at some stage. So it was a gamble worth taking, but obviously now you've got to get back on those slick tyres. There's a man not on the slicks. That's Dominic Kubinski. He's running on the intermediate tyres. Currently 13 seconds clear. What the hell is my dog doing? You scratch a hole in my couch, dog, I will send you to Batsy. Stop it. So I don't often tell off my dog. But that's what I do. Right, so the gap is already coming down. It was 13 seconds. It's already down to 11.6, and he's still got to go all the way down the back straight. He's still got to go round 130R. He's got to go through the Casio triangle and then get into the pits. And already Jimbo closing that gap. Pagani chasing down. Although Pagani with that 3-second pit lane penalty is going to lose some time when he serves out right now. And it's a brutal penalty at the best of times. But just where it is on this racetrack costs you so much time. You can see there just how much time he's lost and still losing. So Dominic in, the gap at 9 seconds. We'll watch Jimbo Racer. And I found out today that the PDX doesn't stand for anything more exciting than it is the airport code for Portland, which is where he's from. So Jimbo Racer takes the lead of this race. The American Muscle in the American Muscle is on the hustle. And in the lead of this race, 5.7 seconds clear of Pagani. And who else would you expect to see when the dust settled out in the top three other than the current championship leader? Yotto's still up there in that top three. He's got Dominic Kabinski for company. That's where Dominic comes back out on the medium compound tyres, tucked in fourth place. So he didn't lose out too much. I thought he might suffer a bit more than that, having stayed out that extra lap on the intermediates, but it hasn't hurt him too badly. 7.9 back to Drox, 2.5 to Joker. It is 2.2 to Pine, who was on the intermediates long before it was cool. 1.4 to Stormfly on the medium compound tyres. He's fueled to ensure he's got enough to the end of the race. All back end stepping out. You've still got to be careful because you can see that, yes, it's a very, very dry line through there, but the edges are still a little bit damp, and you do not want to be getting caught up in those. Stormfly at the moment has Lee Cole absolutely crawling all over him. Lee Cole on those soft compound tyres. And you can see when they get off the racing line, just how wet it is. Be so careful not to cock it up. Stay in the light bit. Stay away from the dark bit and the green bit. That's my strategy, and I recommend that anyone that wants to win does that. Drive fast in the light bit and stay out of the green and the dark bit. Who has caused the yellow flag? Who's died? There's a side-by-side. There's Dominic and Drox. Backing out. Drox winning that battle, and it is ahead as they head down. But Dominic tucked in that slipstream. He's going to have to stay in behind there. You can't go side-by-side through 130R, especially not when it's wet as it is. Down to Casio they go. Is the move on for Dominic as he literally gets into the back of him there. Just a differential in braking. But so he's not going to get the run on him down to turn one because he had to back out after giving after hitting, I was going to say really rude, didn't say he bummed him. He didn't bum him. He hit him from behind with his Audi. Who's at the back of the pack? I hear you cry. Of course, as it always is, it's Nightfire. The Nightfire is in plum last. He's 19 seconds back from eTeamHARD Bruce Lee. I'd like to say he's doing a good job, but he's lost. eTeamHARD Bruce Lee in the Aston Martin, the Aramco Aston Martin. Dusty Fossil, is he just getting rid of wets, or is he just putting... No, he is just getting rid of some wet tyres now. So he wasn't the only one that went full wet, and he stayed out long after he should have got rid of those. He's 36 seconds ahead of eTeamHARD Bruce Lee and Nightfire, though, so not too shabby, and should be able to dive back out in or around 13th place. Those guys are some way back from Fat Dane. He's running in 12th. He's 8.7 seconds behind Zomlar. He's 6.7 behind Mick Astley. He's 12.2 behind Lee Cole. And 1.8 seconds now. Stormfly just pulling away from Lee Cole just a little bit. A little bit more. You can see how it's spread out with the rain coming on board. And it really has separated the men from the boys. And usually to do that you need a crowbar. But on this occasion it just took a little bit of rain. 1.3 seconds up the road is Pine, who's all over the back of Joker. Pine determined to let that strategy of starting on intermediate tyres finally work for him. He's right on the back of Joker. He's got that slipstream. He's going to get so much closer. He'll be tucked right in behind him as they go through 130R. Here they go now. Oh, he did. He was having a little looky up the inside. I mean, you don't do it. It's just not a place you make that move. It's not going to happen. It's not going to go well for you. Yotto goes in on the medium compound tyres as we hit the halfway point. Has he got a good run on Joker here? So it looks close enough if he can stay in that slipstream heading down to turn 1. He's closing. They cross the line. Start lap 10. He's pulling out to the inside. It's going to be a little bit damp there. Be careful. He opts not to go onto the full wet part of the track, and there is Stormfly now getting involved in that battle. These three cars all having a little looky-see if they can break into, well, two of them want to break into the top 5, one wants to stay there, and that is one Joker at the moment holding off the Brit and the Hungarian. And I know it's a Dutch flag, you don't need to freaking tell me, he's a Hungarian and he lives in the land of the Dutch. As he makes the move on Pine and makes it look relatively easy as well. You can see here he gets a run on him actually. Pine just having to break that a little bit more, and Stormfly just finds a little gap up the inside, gets that move done and up into 6th position. But Pine is there or thereabouts, sticking with this fight. There is a move for Stormfly up the inside. Is this a double overtake over a couple of corners? Side by side. You can see that battle up ahead raging on. It's Joker. It's Stormfly side by side, staying in the dry bit. And Stormfly has to back out, or tries to back out. Up the inside he goes. He gets the move done. That's a great move there from Stormfly. Gets himself up into 5th position. And we've got to watch the on-board of this. Surely this is worth an on-board view. So you can see here, there's side... That's the wrong one. I want that one. Side by side, he makes that move. And so brave to get it done there. And you can see there, the cars can do nothing but watch as Stormfly completes the double overtake on Pine and on Joker. And Pine now gets himself past Joker. Can we see that move from a replay perspective? Yes, we can. Is the move in 130? Oh, that would be incredible. No, it's not. It's into Casio. Dives up the inside into Casio. And that's a great overtake. It's a very, very eye of the needle move that. You absolutely have to have pinpoint accuracy to pull off an overtake there. And Joker left that door open. And Pine went through and said, "Thank you very much, my friend." He said, "It's nice. I'll take it." Your leader still Jimbo Racer from the United States of America. Fuck yeah! And he is leading the way by 7.8 seconds. He's going to have to pit this lap though, because he got no fuel left. His tyres are not looking wonderful. But he's going to change out his tyres that will take him to the end of this race. Fastest lap is 1:58.9. That is with Dominic Kubinski currently running in third. In second is our current championship leader and the fastest man on four wheels since Max Verstappen yesterday. Interesting fact about yesterday's Grand Prix, if you didn't know already: 1,222 steward inquiries on track limits over the course of the race. That's fucking insane. Now, with the technology available to F1 cars, just diverge very quickly, could they not have some sort of system in place? Like VA, you've got the goal line technology in football, you've got Hawkeye in tennis, you've got whatever they call it in cricket. It's all the same thing. It all looks at a line and says, did you go across it or not? Right, so can't they just put that on a racetrack? It can't be that difficult, surely, to do that. And it just goes beep every time someone crosses the line, and then they go, 5-second penalty for you. Bubishenka, job done. Imagine how many times they'll do it. They'll do it like GT7. And you have a little penalty line, and then you get someone automatically slows your car down like a go-kart. When you go through it. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Pagani takes the lead when Jimbo goes in. Dominic coming through into second place. Are these guys running to the end? Looking at the fuel, it would be no, is the answer to that question. They're not making it to the end. And if they do, I will eat my own face with a knife and fork. Stormfly will make it to the end, certainly with fuel. Tyres, he might have to nurse a little bit towards the end, but fuel-wise, no problem at all. He put fuel in at that last stop. Currently 5.2 behind, so the top three order is restored. That was how the top three looked at the end of the sprint race. Pagani from Dominic from Stormfly. Stormfly now up into third. Pine is there in fourth. He will need to pit again for fresh tyres. So Pagani needs to pit, Dominic needs to pit. Stormfly doesn't need to pit. Now, I'm pretty sure that the using two compounder tyre rule doesn't count if you've had to use wet ones, right? Well, technically you've used two compounds anyway, so it's not a rule break unless you have to use two dry tyres. So Jimbo, that's where he came back out in fifth position. He's 2.5, 2.8, 3.1, 3.2 seconds behind, ahead of Lee Cole, the Bristol Street Motors car. He will probably need to get rid of those soft compound tyres between now and the end of this race. If you are just joining us, this is lap number 12 of a 21-22 lap race here at Suzuka. It started dry. It got very, very wet very, very quickly. And people were going all over the place. Then, as quickly as it got wet, it started to dry out and started to really test everybody's strategy. And now we have many unaligned strategies, and it's going to be quite difficult at this stage to pick what's going to happen because you've got people on so many differing strategies. Fat Dane there, he might have enough fuel to make it to the end. He might have to just be a little bit studious looking after that fuel, a little bit of lift and coast between now and the end, just to make sure he's got enough fuel to take him to the end of this race. Yotto, he's got plenty of fuel. He's got enough to do the race again. Someone overfilled a little bit on their pit stop. He will be driving to the end, so expect to see him gain a position or two between now and the end of this race. Drox in ninth place. He is right on the back of Yotto. These two went off out in the lead early doors. Now find themselves in 8th and 9th place as the dust has settled. And that Ferrari of Drox, we're watching right now, just chasing down Yotto, trying to find a way through. 666, the number of the beast. One Joker, there is only one of him. He is 6.2 seconds behind that battle, which is raging on up ahead there. Dusty Fossil, 23 seconds back. I just want to keep an eye on this battle, actually. I don't want to leave this battle because it is a potential overtake for Drox. Pagani, Dominic, Stormfly hasn't changed out in that front three, and they're looking again to dominate, although only two of those cars need to pit. So that could be an interesting end to this race. Drox getting a little closer maybe. So Pagani, he's in. That'll promote Dominic, Stormfly and maybe one or two others. So I said Drox was closing. He's actually not. Yotto ahead is starting to pull away. So I think we can successfully say, let's move on to someone more beautiful. I'm not suggesting you're ugly, but you are not. Right, so there we go. So Dominic does go through into the leader's race. Pagani into the pits, getting some fresh tyres and some fuel. Stormfly goes through into second. He can run to the end of this race. Dominic cannot. He's going to have to pit. If he doesn't pit at the end of this lap, it will be at the end of the next one. I am going to go and punch my dog in the head in a minute. I'm not actually going to punch my dog. I love my dog. But she keeps scratching my couch like that, which she doesn't normally do. Yeah, we're going to have fisticuffs in the garden. I'm going to be stripped to the waist. But from the waist down, obviously. I'm not a weirdo. Pagani comes out in fifth, right up behind that battle between a Jimbo Racer and Pineapple Head. This is an interesting battle because Pagani is going super quick. Pagani on fresh soft tyres, maybe not as grippy as he'd like to be, not quite up to the optimum grit levels. He was side by side with Pine, couldn't get that job done there, but he is going to have another little go, and he does make that move. Up into fourth goes Pagani. That's given Jimbo Racer a little bit of breathing room just to escape up the road, which is going to give Pagani a bit of work to do to close that down. Can Pine stick with Pagani? The answer to that question is a resounding no, because his tyres are so red that you would even assume that they'd never had any grip on them. They are so bad, especially those front tyres. Luckily it's the fronts and not the rears. The rears would be spinning all over the gaff. He just won't have any ability to turn at any relative pace. He'll be coming in at the end of this lap. Jimbo Racer, he can run to the end. He's on soft compound tyres. He is 4 seconds behind Stormfly. He's 1.6 ahead of Pagani. But look at those clouds. Do those clouds mean there is something afoot in the future? Over the next 10 minutes, are we going to see some more moistness? Has this going to be thrown on its head? It's not raining at the moment, of course, but those black clouds suggest that it might not stay quite as dry as I think Stormfly right now, 2.7 seconds clear, of course, would like it to be. So Stormfly, Jimbo, they're looking really good for podium places. Pagani also looking pretty solid for a podium. But if the rain returns over this next 8 or so minutes, it could absolutely flip turn upside down, as my friend the Fresh Prince would say. He's not actually my friend. And I do often keep his wife's name out of my goddamn mouth. Dominic Kaminsky, he did have to pit in the end. His tyres were gone. I wonder if he was holding out for the rain to come so he could just go and put on some wet weather tyres. Is the rain going to come? Is it going to hold out? Is he just going to threaten to? There is Yotto. He is 7.9 seconds back. What happened there? That was a little bit wobbly, it looked like. Looked like the back end just stepped out of touch, or was that just my poor eyesight? Sweeps round there. It did step out. Oh yeah, he did. He was off the racetrack there, very briefly. And that's allowed Drox to close back up in that 4.58. So the Portuguese driver now gets an opportunity to find his way back into that top 5. Around the hairpin they go. Lee Cole not too far behind, 2.1 seconds behind them. Is it raining yet? No, it's not. But I'm concerned that it might. And I'm concerned that it might really put a cat amongst the pigeons. Now, who was that? There was someone off the race. That was Pagani off the racetrack. Is it because it's wet? No, it's not. But in other news, Jimbo Racer has taken the lead of this race. And he was already ahead when they got to the Casio Triangle, which suggests to me that he made that move heading down to 130R. He's looking super quick on those soft compound tyres. Already 1.2 seconds clear of Stormfly. His tyres, actually, I'm wondering whether they will hold out to the end. We've got, I think we'll be all right. We're on lap 16. He's got to hold out for 4 laps. Now, Drox into the pits. That is for intermediate tyres because the rain has arrived. It has been switched up, switched out, and changed. Drox dive straight in. Intermediate tyres going on. Has to be intermediate tyres. He's taking the gamble. Is it the right move? A little bit of splash of fuel to make sure. Yes, he has. He's got an intermediate. So, is this a master genius stroke from Drox? What's Jimbo going to do? Who's next approaching? Who's next going to be jumping into the pits? That's the big question. That's Dusty Fossil. He's staying out on the medium compound tyres. Further back down the racetrack. It's difficult to see who's where now because everyone's all over the place. There's Zomlar. He's coming around. What's he going to do? Zomlar is staying out. So, oh no, he's already on the intermediates. So he's been on the intermediate for a while, Zomlar. Did he forget that it stopped raining? So actually that might play into his hands now. Joker is still out. Quite a few staying out actually. It's just Zomlar. Nightfire coming in now. Is he going to go on the inters? Surely he is. So Jimbo stays out. He's on the soft compound tyres. He going for another lap. Stormfly also staying out. It's not quite time to change. But I think those that went in early have given themselves a fantastic opportunity to gain track position here. But it obviously depends on whether it continues to rain. And it does appear to have stopped. So it's not the monsoon we thought it might be. So those that are on the intermediate tyres are, for want of a better expression, fucked. Unless, of course, it rains again. We saw Pagani making a mistake, but we know that doesn't slow this guy down. He just drives even faster and comes after you like a bat out of hell and be gone when the morning comes. Please don't copyright infringe me. 13 seconds gap between Pagani and Dominic Kubinski. He's on the medium tyres, Pagani on the soft compound tyres. Dominic was, of course, second last time out after incredible sportsmanship from Stormfly. Remember, he's a black flag driver. That's how we roll, baby. Lee Cole in 5th place. He's on the soft compound tyres. Will run to the end. And as it's staying dry, or is it staying dry? That's the question. I think now if it starts to rain now, you're better off just staying out because there's only a couple of laps remaining. There's no point wasting half the time left to get some wet weather tyres. Pine is in 6th. He is 5.3 ahead of Yotto, who's on medium tyres, but they're looking a bit ropey. Mick Astley on the mediums. He's in 8th ahead of Drox, who took the big gamble, went for the intermediate tyres. And I think sometimes you've got to take that gamble, but it's not going to work out for him. He's got 13 seconds over Dusty, so it's kind of that ever hopeful, we've got 3 minutes left. Can I hold out for 3 minutes? Dusty on the mediums. He's battling there with Joker. Joker trying to find a way through. Joker's on a bit of a charge on the soft compound tyre. Can he find a way through and chase down Drox to not only get himself into the top 10, but get himself into the top 9? Talking about the top 9, it's still less than half, mate. Dusty goes a little bit wide there. Not the space for Joker to get through. Track is back dry again. There is that time. So that's Joker up into the top 10. The gap to Drox, 12 seconds. Pagani has made his way up in 2 seconds. He's got around Stormfly. And the gap 4 seconds. Did Stormfly have a little wobble somewhere? He must have done, 206 followed by the 205, 205. So he went a little bit wobbly. As Dominic Kubinski puts in a 58.9, Pagani does a 59.3. And that's with part of the track still being wetter than an otter's pocket. I don't even know. It's even a saying. It's pretty cool what it is. But here is, I think, my driver of the day. Jimbo Racer. I didn't really feature much in the sprint race, but absolutely spanked it here. Tactics-wise, spot on. Pace has been good. It's been more than good. He's been steadily in those 201s for the last few laps of this race, and I think we're going to be seeing the temporary driver diving in and taking himself the big buck points for this. It's been an odd race. It's been wet. It's been dry. It's been sunny. It's been wet again. It's been a laugh a minute, in all fairness. So Jimbo 4.8 seconds clear of Pagani, 8 seconds back to Stormfly. Stormfly is, I think that's a back marker, isn't it? He's just lapping there. Dominic Kabinski 4.4 seconds back now. Is that a little twist in the tail? Is he going to close down on Stormfly? Remember, these guys had a really good battle towards the end of the sprint race. That's 2 back markers in his way. Blocking him off. Well, they're not intentionally blocking him, of course, but it's going to slow up his progress chasing Stormfly, getting a 10 seconds to Pagani, and that's because he's having to fuel save like he's bought it himself. 1 lap remains, and he's got enough fuel to probably get him to turn 7, so he's going to have to make it last. Dominic Kabinski doesn't have that problem. And he doesn't have the problem of back markers either. So Stormfly could be in big trouble here and lose 3rd place. He already lost out to Pagani where he had to drop off the pace. And Jimbo, of course, he has plenty and he's going to go to the end. So do we have anyone going to finish just yet? I think pretty much most drivers are going to finish on the lead lap. Pine, there is Lee Cole, there is Giotto. 24 seconds, Mick Astley. Joker, there he is in 9th place. On this one, this might be his last lap actually. Mick Astley, I think he's going to be finishing in 8th right here. Comes round that final turn, the clock has ticked down to 0. This is his final lap. Across the line he goes. He's in 8th. One Joker coming home in 9th. He did make that extra position. The Fat Dane coming home in 10th position. I don't want to lose Jimbo. Where is Jimbo? Jimbo's there. Drox will come home in 11th. But there is the man of the moment, heading down to Casio for the final time on lap 19. And the reason we didn't get 21 laps is because it freaking rained, didn't it? So everyone went really slowly for a bit. And the extra pit stops, of course. So there comes Jimbo Racer round the final corner and across the line to take a convincing lead here, and convincing win, in fact. Pagani comes home in 2nd, 6.7 seconds. Dominic Kabinski did indeed catch Stormfly, 9.1 seconds behind Pagani. He comes home in 3rd. Stormfly is limping home round the final bend. Pine's not going to catch him. But he is limping across that line. He did run out of fuel, as we predicted. There we go. He's finished in 4th. Pine not close enough to capitalise on that loss of fuel, but he himself is struggling on the fumes, although he is going to make it across the line. 5th place for him. Lee Cole in 6th position. He crosses the line there. And last across the line will be Giotto. Into Casio he comes. His tyres are gone. His fuel is finished. His arms hurt. His back hurt. His palms are sweaty. Knees weak. And all that other stuff. Mum's spaghetti. Across the line he goes. Job done. Great finish. So Jimbo from Pagani. Dominic Kabinski from Stormfly. That was your top 3. Good racing all round though. But yeah, that was pretty darn awesome. Shall we go through the full rundown? So Jimbo with a brilliant Performance comes home in that Corvette, winning over Pagani in the R8. Dominic Kabinski in the other R8 coming home in 3rd, ahead of Stormfly in the V12. 1:58.9, fastest lap for Dominic in that race. Then we've got the trio of Corvettes for Pine, Lee Cole and Giotto, 5th, 6th and 7th. Mick Astley rounds out the top 8 in that 458 Italia. One Joker in the R8 in 9th. 2 more of the Fezzers in the Fat Dane and Drox in 10th and 11th. I'm Hard Bruce Lee in the Vantage in 12th. Dusty Foster in the F-Type comes home in 13th. Corvette C7 for Zomlar in 14th, and 15th was Nightfire in the Fezzer. Job done. That was a little bit exciting, wasn't it? It started, well, it threatened to rain. It started dry. It then absolutely chucked it down. And some drivers went in and got wet. Some drivers went in and got intermediates. Some already had intermediates on to start the dry race. And then, just when we thought it was going to be slippy, slidey galore, the rain went away. And the track dried out. And we went back to slick racing again. Just before the end, that's when it all went a little bit tits up, and we changed it up again, and the rain came down, and a couple of people blinked, a couple of people didn't, and then the rain went away again as quickly as it arrived. But it finishes with the sprint race with your championship leader Pagani winning there, and from nowhere, from the far off land. The land that we only see on the television, from Portland in Oregon, Jimbo Racer brings home the big prize and wins here at Suzuka. So, thank you very much for joining me this evening. This has been the Invitational, the GT Invitational Racing League, brought to you by eTeamHARD.com esports, GTI, and of course me, Urban Pirate, Black Flag Racing TV. It's been, what's it been? Yeah, you're right. It's been emotional.